recap of, I think, everything that I talked about in the last video. At that point, I had been in the psych ward for the past 24 hours. Remember this. That's very important. From Wednesday night to Thursday morning, I could not possibly have done anything because I was in the psych ward under constant supervision by everybody in the hospital. I think they probably know more about what happened to me during that time than I do. My wife was in the maternity ward recovering from her C-section. And the last time I saw the baby, I had handed it to my mother-in-law because I realized that I got banned on TikTok. I was dealing with that emotionally, so I handed it to my mother-in-law. My in-laws have been staying with us, so basically me, because remember my wife was in the hospital the whole time, penthouse suite, having the time of her life. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with her parents in our teeny tiny apartment for 3 straight days, whatever it is. So they've been staying with us, and I don't even want to get into all the reasons why they can't afford their own hotel room like a normal family would in this situation, because that would involve me doing a 40-hour video about all of the mistakes they've ever made in the history of their whole family lineage, and I don't have time to do that. But basically, long story short, they're staying with us. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in that situation where you have company and people are staying with you, and there's not really a whole lot for you guys to do besides dinner and lunch, so in between that, it's kind of awkward. You're just sitting around and nothing's really going on, and you're just waiting for the next meal. So
I kind of feel that,
in my
though.
car making the video.
Wait, what?
And there wasn't really anything for me to do besides...
Oh, I said, I feel that. Like, when, you have company, and, like, there's not really much to do besides wait for the next meal.
Oh, yeah.
To
Yeah.
where my in-laws probably were, and I don't want to just sit around with them in the living room and talk about the same 5 things we've been talking about our whole lives. So I said, I wanted to kind of just kill some time, and I texted them, I said, I'm going to run some errands before I get home. I'm out of the hospital.
Time to tidy up.
My wife is fine. I don't want to say her name, but people around in my periphery don't really like to get attention on the internet like I do, so I like to kind of keep them out of it. I said, my wife is fine. She's in the hospital. She's having some complications with her C-section, but I think everything's going to be fine. I'm going to run some errands. Which, if you ever hear me say that, just know it's a crock of shit, because it probably means I'm just running around town with my dick in my hands, basically.
Running around town, my dick in my hand.
I start like walking.
Yeah.
I go to Target for no reason and walk around.
Making my way downtown with my dick in my hand.
And then the sun goes down, and I figure, okay, it's almost dinner time, so I guess I'll go back home. And we'll get dinner, and then
walking fast, balls swinging fast, and I'm homebound.
Open the door. The first thing that my mother-in-law says to me is, "How was your day with the baby?" And I look at her and I say, "Excuse me? How was your day with the baby? You're the ones who have had it this whole time, right?" And they say, "No, you're the one who's had it this whole time." So now, my mother-in-law is very histrionic, which means that she overreacts to things. And she's already doing some of her best work right now. Because before I even know it, she's got her phone out and she's trying to call the cops. So I grab the phone out of her hand, and I say to the operator, I don't know what this lady just told you, but disregard it, because there's no problem, we've got it all under control. Goodbye. Hang up the phone, throw the garbage system. And
God.
now my in-laws are freaking out. And I'm trying to explain to them, you're the ones who messed up here. Because the last time I checked, the last thing I remember, you were holding the baby. So it was your responsibility. And then they told me the hospital people told us that after you got out of the psych ward, you were going to get the baby and take it home. And I said, well, why are you listening to the hospital people about what I'm going to do? Nobody ever told me that. I was in the psych ward laid up on God knows what. So that's probably another part of the story that probably the drug use I'm about to tell you about partially wasn't even my fault. But I was laid up for like 24 hours under constant supervision, so how can I have done anything? Explain that to me. So they said that the hospital people told them that my baby, they had to do some tests or whatever they do with the baby over the next night. So they left the baby with the hospital and they went back to my apartment. Already a red flag because they don't have a key to my apartment. According to them, they came back to my apartment and stayed the night in my apartment without me while I was in the psych ward. So already, put a pin in that one. So I say, well, the baby's probably the hospital then. Let's go to the hospital. And as I'm thinking about my next move, I'm starting to realize that something is going on with my in-laws. I'm not exactly sure that I should trust them completely in this situation. At the end of the day, I have to look out for numero uno, which is me. So I say, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to kind of like get them off my back, but not raise any alarm bells. Because if they did something, then they're probably going to be trying to pin it on me. That's what I would do. I'm trying to pin it on the other. No, I'm not saying that's what I'm doing. If I did something and I was in their situation, I would try to pin it on me. So I said, you know what? Why don't you guys just stay here and relax? I'm going to go to the hospital because you're right. It is my responsibility. It's not. I'm just trying to tell them what they want to hear so that they leave me alone. So I say, I'm going to go to the hospital. Don't even worry about it. I go to the hospital. I get to the hospital. My in-laws are already there. So they have their own car. So they must have been driving 150 miles an hour down the freeway. They got to the hospital before me because I was trying to drive the speed limit and obey traffic laws because I've been in enough trouble with the law as it is my entire life. So I don't need a traffic ticket on top of all of this. So it looks like they've been talking to the hospital people for a while. So I go in and I say, okay, everybody in this room has 5 seconds to explain to me what's going on before I go apeshit. And the hospital people say they don't know where the baby is either, which is crazy to me. And I honestly, it's not that crazy to me because if you remember when the situation with my ex happened last year, this is the same hospital. It's the same gaggle of people. And this hospital is a breeding ground of malpractice and incompetence. I told my wife over and over again, whatever we do, we cannot go to that hospital because when we have the baby, otherwise they're going to ruin our lives. And look, I'm right again. So I asked them, do you mean to tell me that you don't keep any kind of logbook or record of who brings babies in and out of this building? And they're behind the desk. Everybody's, it's like an anthill back there. Everybody's running around looking through papers, acting like they're doing something, being proactive. I've had service industry jobs before, so believe me, I know what pretending to work looks like. And that's what they're doing right now. So they're flipping through books, they're whispering to each other, and I'm trying to say, hello, can somebody explain to me what's going on? The hospital people say that it's probably prudent to get the police involved at this point. And I say, no, absolutely not. You can get the police involved, but I am not going to deal with this right now. This baby is not my responsibility. I've had the worst 48 hours of my life. Little did I know I was going to end up having the worst 72 hours of my life. I'm going home and I'm getting some sleep. I haven't slept in 2 days. So I try to leave. some guy's blocking me at the door, just saying, no, we gotta figure this out. I say, I'm a sovereign citizen. Get out of my way. You can't stop me from doing whatever
Oh my
I want.
God.
I'm under arrest. I didn't do anything wrong. I go home, and I get into my apartment, and I see red and blue flashing lights. The cops are there. And I'm remembering, crap. My mother-in-law, I guess the call must have gone through, so they have responded to, I go up to them and I say, what's going on? And they say,
Exactly what I
we got a call from what sounded like a domestic dispute between an old lady and a young man. So we just wanted to come and check and see if everything was okay. And I told them, yeah, everything's fine.
Just what I was after.
Exactly
what I need. Just what
So
I was
they say,
after.
great.
Just what
And
I
they
was
leave.
after.
That's the LAPD
Just what I was
for you.
after.
So thank God. In this case, that was a good thing for me. So I go in that apartment, lock the doors, shut the blinds, and I am prescribed
Just what I was after.
some things to help me with anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety, and insomnia. I have a lot of trouble sleeping. So I am prescribed a lot of things to help me deal with those kind of issues. So I am, of course, really wound up, and I say to myself, if there's ever a time to take these pills, it's now.
Just what I was after.
So
Exactly what I need.
I took some medication, and I lay my head down
Exactly
on the floor.
what I need.
Bam! All of a sudden, it's the morning, and I look around me. I'm getting my bearings. I say, wow, I slept pretty good last night.
Just what I was after.
And I realize
Just what I was after.
it's not Friday morning like it's supposed to be. That was Thursday night that I was just explaining. I looked at my phone. It's Saturday morning. It's this morning.
This one's on my list.
So I fell asleep on Thursday night. So now I'm realizing
Just what I was after.
that 36 hours
This one's on my list.
are missing for me. I have no clue what happened in those 36 hours, Thursday night to Saturday morning. And unfortunately, this isn't the first time that this has happened. I kind of have a lot of experience with this because benzodiazepines, like I explained earlier, and opiates, especially if you put them together, they have a funny way of kind of playing tricks on your perception and your sense of the passage of time. If you've ever seen
Just what I was at.
Memento, a lot of times it feels like that, where you'll all of a sudden be in a place you have no clue how you got there, and you have to use context clues to piece together what happened in the events leading up to what you're currently experiencing. So normally the first thing I do in this situation is I check my phone and I go into my text messages and my photo gallery to see if there's, sometimes maybe I can look at my text and the photos I've taken and the things I've posted on social media, and I can see what happened. But there's nothing. So either I or somebody else went through and deleted all my text messages, all my pictures, and all my social media posts. You guys would know better than me if I posted anything in that time frame. So no, that's no help there. I'm walking around my apartment. There's no in-laws, so they're not here. Their suitcases aren't here. Their shoes aren't here. None of their stuff is here. Their car's not here. So they're not here. My wife's not here, and the baby's not here. So I'm alone. Nobody's here. I peer out the blinds, and my car is in the normal parking spot, but it has a huge dent in it.
This, I'm out.
Your guess is as good as mine where that came from. So that kind of brings me to right now. You may have noticed that I'm in a pretty beautiful view, and that's because I'm in the Angeles National Forest, which is right outside of LA. This is kind of where I go when I need to kind of take a breath and have some time myself and think about things, process things. There's no cell reception out here, so it gives you a lot of peace and quiet because your phone doesn't go off and people aren't going to be panicking, bothering you about all sorts of things. So I'm kind of just getting my bearings, And I wanted to make this video right now because I have a feeling that shit is really gonna hit the fan for me today. So I wanted to make sure that I got out my side of the story before anybody else has the chance to get ahead of it and twist around what happened in a way that I don't have any control over. So you heard it from me first, what happened. Everything I said is true because I would have no reason to lie to you people. I don't know what happened to me. Whatever happened to me, it wasn't my fault because I wasn't even in control of my actions. Not saying that anything did happen. I'm just saying that in the legal system, there is, my lawyer has explained this to me many times. If you are
Many
under
times.
certain medications and psychiatric illnesses, which I do have, both of those things, then there is a limit to the responsibility legally of whatever you did under that, in that state. Basically, it's called diminished responsibility, diminished capacity. So just remember that, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I did anything. I'm just saying that, you know what, I'm not even going to keep talking about this because I feel like I'm keep digging a bigger and bigger hole for myself. So I'm just going to say, I'll keep you updated when I know something. But right now, I don't know anything. You guys will probably know more about me, about things than I would that have happened in the past 24 hours because I don't know anything about it. So,
Good to see you, boss. Let's make it a
as far as my TikTok goes, unfortunately, it's looking like I'm probably not going to get that back, but that is the one sort of
Hey,
silver
boss.
lining.
Ready for
If
another
any
great day.
sliver of good news to all this is that my friends in Washington have been kind of working on that. So I have a lot of
Oh no.
places and so that's good. So silver lining. I'm always kind of trying to look for the silver lining. I guess that's it. I don't know. I mean, I'll keep you updated when something happens. That's my Twitter and my Instagram. Thanks for your support on the last video. I will say that overall, I think people could have been more supportive of the last video, but that's okay because I understand that people have a lot of things going on. But I'll say this. What I saw people pay more attention to and thinking it was more important than the video that I posted, to me was not enough. So that's just my opinion. But thank you for the people who were
time to
supportive.
tidy up.
And
Let's
for
do
me, my
this.
support will only continue to increase as time goes on. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye. Story time. My ex died. Am I
Didn't we
responsible?
watch this one?
Maybe. Did we?
Is this the one with the salt?
The salt.
Like putting salt in their water or something?
No. I think this is a different thing.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
I remember the
mentioned in
one
a
that you
recent
showed
video
me
that
that
my
he
ex
was
had
just
died,
like
not
salt
my most recent ex,
poisoning
but the ex.
someone.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe you'll check the transcript.
This, I'm out.
Oh, putting salt in his partner's water filter. Yeah. Okay, it is. It is. It is. It is that video. He has several exes that died, though, so.
I fed my ex
all
her own
under,
dog.
yeah, all under mysterious circumstances, too.
I'll get those shelves filled in no time.
Lost my stepson at the mall. In the closet of a very special lady. Help. Stuck. The full story of how I got cucked by ChatGPT.
apologizing to my friend for calling him gay even though he is.
Yeah, or having sex with a man doesn't make you gay. Funky Pilot 1, Funky Pilot 2,
We
Funky
should watch
Pilot
that.
3. I
Funky
deeply
Pilot.
regret Funky Pilot. Normal Pilot.
Good morning, everyone. This is your pilot speaking, and it is time to get funky. Funky, funky. Funky pilot. Funky, funky. Funky, funky. Funky, funky, funky. Funky, funky. Funky, funky, funky. Funky, funky, funky. Funky, funky. Funky, funky. Funky, funky. Funky, 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 funky,
Just
funky,
what I was
funky.
after.
Funky, funky. Funky, funky. Funky, 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 funky pipe. Funky, 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 pilot. Funky, funky.
Funky Pilot.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. This is your pilot speaking, and it is time to get funky, 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 funky pilot, funky pilot, funky, 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 funky pilot, funky pilot, funky pilot, funky pilot, funky pilot, funky pilot, pilot, funky, funky pilot, funky, 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 funky pilot. Funky pilot! Funky, 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 funky!
They don't have what I need.
Funky! Funky pilot! Funky, 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 funky.
What's your cost on the payment device? Nice.
Funky Pilot.
Okay, and then Funky Pilot 3.
Good morning, everyone. This is your pilot speaking, and it is time to get funky. Funky, funky, funky pilot. Funky,
This one's
funky,
on my list.
funky pilot. Funky, 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 funky pilot. Funky pilot. Funky pilot. Funky, 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 funky pilot. Funky, funky. Funky, 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 funky pilot. Funky pilot. Funky, funky,
Exactly what I need.
funky, 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 funky,
Just what I was after.
funky, funky.
You just got off. That's huge. And then
Not in stock.
last one or no, last two of the saga, the epilogue.
I'm out.
Series called Funky Pilot. And I want to sincerely apologize to anyone who may have been hurt by this. After learning more about the history of funk, I realized that it was not my place to be a funky pilot. And ultimately, I am very grateful for this learning opportunity. I am going to leave the videos up because I want to hold myself accountable and responsible. But just know that my desire to portray a funky pilot came solely out of a desire to be funky and a pilot. It was not meant in any other way. You know, there was no agenda of this idea. I'm still proud of the series. I think that it's, you know, when you're on social media, it's you kind of just have to throw things out there. Something that I learned from Pokemon Boing Boing is just post it because you never know. And then a lesson that I learned from Sunloaf was if it doesn't work the first time, keep posting it until it does work. And so part of my career is just using lessons that I've learned as they accumulate, you know, and hoping
Just what I
that,
was after.
and hoping that that leads to an interesting place artistically. And I do think Funky Pilot has artistic integrity. But of course I would never want it to be, you know, as I said in the video, Pilot gets funky was really the only message that was there, and the idea is that he wants to spread joy through funk. So all I would ever want to do is spread joy, or make you think, because I suppose, and if you look at it one way, then Pilot who was that funky would be sort of this sort of thing. I don't know. That's the thing that I find interesting about my art is that I think there's a lot of different ways you could view it. You know, I think depending on how you already view pilots and how you already view being funky, I think that it could be, you know, there's one way of looking at it which is very like, oh, this is fun. You know, I would love if my pilot was this funky because most pilots are not. And then there's another way of looking at it that's like, well, there's a very good reason why most pilots are not that funky because funk has no place on anything.
Just what I was after.
So I guess it's just what I will say is that I deeply value all of the different perspectives that I get from my audience. And I appreciate all of you very much. I appreciate everything that you bring to the table.
Funky
funky.
Pilot.
No, I'm
Exactly
What?
I was gonna say Funky Pilot.
You said it. You guys are on the same wavelength, for real.
that's in the past. I'm moving on from FP, Funky Pilot.
Hey, boss. Ready for another great day.
Ooh, what if Sunloaf was a pilot? That could be interesting. Pilot or pilot.
Pilot son.
Pilot Wolf. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Pilot Wolf. Alright. Have a good one.
This should do it.
Pilot love.
This looks good.
Okay. And then last in the series.
Normal pilot. 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 Pilot. Normal pilot. Normal
What I
pilot.
was after.
Normal pilot.
This is
Normal
perfect. pilot. Normal pilot. Normal pilot. Full of today.
Normal pilot. 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 Normal.
Can you imagine walking past the car and he's just in the middle of doing this?
That's what I love about his videos, to be honest. It's just like the thought of like actually encountering him in the wild. It's like, wow. Or like especially like not even like as a fan, like encountering like someone like him. You know, like I don't know. It's kind of an incredible like thought experiment. Like, what if
But
I
it's
just met this guy and he's like, normal pilot, yes, 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 give me dub dub dub, yes.
normal pilot,
All right.
normal pilot, normal pilot.
Another soulless remake of a classic trilogy. This is borderline disgusting. Bring back Funky Pilot. The woke mind virus has killed Funky Pilot. Oh, that's my comfort character being my normal and straight pilot, I may add. Gee, I sure hope my flight goes well. That ever so trustworthy normal pilot. You can see all the passion isn't there anymore.
Hello, everyone. When is it appropriate to exterminate a patient?
Oh
And how
my
do we move
god.
that from a clinical standpoint? And I'm using that word very purposefully because words like the K word or the D word or the M word tend to infuse the situation with their loaded connotations. And it is crucial that as medical professionals, we approach everything sterilely and we do not let emotions affect our judgment when we need to be very objective in order to treat people physically and mentally. You know, it serves mental health professionals as well to be to cut off their emotional attachments to concepts like death and pain and all of those sorts of things, because otherwise you're going to be going around like a basket case all day and you're not going to help anybody because you're just going to be a big baby. So for a very long time, if a patient was resistant to the 4 or 5 treatments we had at our disposal, so talk therapy, which is basically just telling somebody to get over it, but charging a lot of money. Medication, which is basically just telling people to take a bunch of NyQuil, you know, but you're wearing a slab coat while you do it, right? Were really the only treatment options that we had, and sometimes they work if a patient doesn't really have any problem. But for patients who do actually have severe issues, those sort of phony treatments that don't work, that we sort of pulled out of our ass, they're not, they require something a little bit more permanent, right? And so I think that it is very exciting, especially to me, that in the past few years, it seems like people have finally gotten a little bit more open to having this conversation. We're not totally there yet, but at the very least, we are seeing some sort of progress in destigmatizing death. Because really, it is absolutely nothing to be afraid of. You know, we spend our lives so preoccupied. Sorry, there's excuse me, there's a coyote running down the road. Look at that. Oh my god, it's coming right towards me! I apologize. That type of thing normally doesn't
Happen.
So anyway, you know, it's very encouraging to me and very exciting that people have sort of become more open-minded about discussing the subject of sort of the final option, right? The final, the final treatment. And, you know, and so there have only been a few patients where this has been both necessary, you know, and agreed to by everyone involved. Typically, unfortunately, it's kind of like being a police officer in the sense that Somebody who really wants to die probably is not the best candidate for exterminating. So, clinically, I mean. So typically, when I arrive at that, I'm sorry, that coyote really kind of threw me off my game. I really was not expecting that, and that. I'm trying not to start over here because I'm sorry. Okay. So why don't we start? Okay. So here's what I'll do. Well, we can take it from when I see a patient, and a patient begins to display, basically, we have all had. I think what a lot of people don't realize about doctors or psychologists or scientists or people who have these sort of lofty intellectual jobs that require a lot of training and require a seemingly insurmountable mountain of insurmountability to a lay person. And basically what I mean by that is most lay people look at doctors or scientists or what have you, and they think, well, wow, I could never do what it takes to be that, so they must be a completely different species, or they are completely different from me. I couldn't, and so there's a level of detachment there, and thus there's a level of idolization and idolatry, because they sort of make those people larger than life, when in reality they are people. And so a lot of the emotions that you feel are also what doctors feel, and scientists and psychologists and astronauts and everybody on the face of the planet feels the exact same emotions. They just use their particular training to funnel and stuff those emotions through the hole that their training, the shape of the hole that their training and their expertise has led them to having. So, if you've ever had a friend who it's just one thing after another, and they're always, it's always crisis, or it's always this, it's always that, and eventually, at first you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be there for you, I want to help you, but after the 4th or 5th time the apocalypse has happened to this person, eventually you sort of say, well, you know what? I don't really see any situation where you're happy and you actually are. What would work for you? Nothing. And psychologists and mental health professionals feel that exact same thing. Now, what we used to do whenever we felt that emotion was just diagnose the person with borderline personality disorder, right? And it's kind of an open secret in the psychology community that borderline personality disorder is basically synonymous with annoying bitch disease. Right?
Oh my god.
But
oh my god.
Really, it has nothing to do with anything.
That's insane.
I'm going to tell you something honestly here. Mental health science is
oh my god.
almost all of it is. It's fake. And so when we say these things, we put on all the glasses and we have our notebook, we write down all that stuff,
Hey boss, ready
we're just
for
making
another
up
break
bullshit.
day.
We're just pulling shit out of our ass, right? Like anybody else does in any profession, really. And so sometimes we get lucky, right? the first big way that we get lucky is that people are very easy to manipulate, and manipulation always works. Gaslighting always works. Always. So you can manipulate a patient and you can gaslight a patient into thinking that you are doing something and thinking that they're getting better if they don't have any problems to begin with, right? Because they manipulated and gaslit themselves into thinking that they needed to come here. So I am very good at identifying those types of patients and saying, all right, all this is going to need is a little bit of kabuki theater and you're going to be fine. But sometimes, I would say really the only two ways that I would classify people are normal and crazy.
Oh my
Most,
god.
if not everyone, even though they think they're crazy, they're actually normal. Because thinking you're crazy is a lot more normal than people think it is. The people who are crazy, you know, you see them at the bus stop pacing around and yelling to themselves and, you know, causing all sorts of mayhem. They're the type of people who you start talking to them, and it depends how long into the conversation you eventually realize that the person is completely mentally unsalvageable. That's
Jesus
typically what
Christ.
I use as my diagnostic factor. So if I go up to the guy at the bus stop who's ranting and raving and rambling, I can tell in 0 seconds that he is crazy. So he is the highest level that one can be. Now, my ex-girlfriend, it took 6 months for me talking to her to realize that she was completely mentally unsalvageable.
Found it.
That's on the high end. And I know that that's sort of an anecdotal, informal situation, but I consider everyone in my personal life to be one of my patients, because it's not like it's a switch that I can turn on and off and I automatically stop being a doctor. It's the lens through which, again, it's the hole that I push myself through in this life, and that's who I was born to be, and that's, at the end of the day, that's the way that it is. So I have, you know, informally treated almost everyone that I know. That's one of the reasons why people become friends with me, because I was born to be a mental health professional. And so they sort of get a free ride. In some cases, more literally than not. But
What
that's
does he
all to
mean
say
by
that,
that? Pause.
I'm trying to avoid having my happy juice.
Happy juice.
I cannot.
This is just what I need.
This looks good. This one's on my list.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll have Eddie. Thank you. For that.
This one's on my list.
Oh, and Eddie, listen to this.
This one's on my list.
No is the answer to the question you have. Absolutely not. All right, so let's try to get a little bit more back on topic here. There have been, I would say that only about 5% of the total patients that I've had, either formally or informally, who I deemed to
This should be
This is
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
Hmm. Okay. I would say that of the patients who I have deemed, formally or informally, to be prime candidates for extermination, I would say only about maybe 2% of them it was actually able to be done. Again, formally or informally. I can, I'm sort of like the Batman of mental health, you know,
Oh my
because I
god.
think that one of the reasons why I have intentionally chose not to follow the traditional pathways of uh, qualification and accreditation and all of this hogwash is because I think that precludes you from doing any good at all, right? Because you're trying to wade through all the red tape, and you just want to go like, rip it all off like the Hulk. And so that's sort of what I consider myself. I'm sort of a Spider-Man of mental health. So I kind of operate outside of all of those jurisdictions. And now I don't want to say anything that's going to get me in trouble, but basically because sometimes it's a lot easier. Okay, you know what? I have just realized that I definitely cannot talk about this. So I'm going to stop talking about it. But basically what you need to know is that I will take care of it. If that is what you desire, or if you have diagnosed someone, if you suspect that someone else who you love is beyond help, there are options.
Jesus Christ.
And you can think a little bit outside of the box there. That's a luxury that you are afforded if you are not tied up by the board of ding dongs, or Anyway, I'm sorry. Sometimes when the reason why I was trying to avoid my happy juice is because I feel like I
I can't feel my legs.
And right now I feel like Dumbo. So I think I probably will wrap it up. But really, I honestly, I do genuinely hope that someone found any portion of this to be insightful at all. Because I have to tell you, sometimes I really hate myself, and I really hate everything about who I am, and everything that I do, and I just feel like nothing that I say is good. And it's silly because I know how many people I've helped, but I just feel like a piece of shit. Sometimes I wonder if well, I gotta be careful there too, because YouTube really, really does not like it when you consider this treatment option, right? So, I think I'm gonna try to wrap it up here. But yeah.
Damn, this therapist needs therapy for real.
Why do I bother?
Yeah. It's okay, Dan. We love you. We love you, Dan.
Ta-da!
Man.
And the Oscar goes to, right? That's an example of a situation where you would, as a clinician, make the choice not to pursue the final situation, the final option, because
Final solution? Crazy.
it sounds like we're at a fucking naval base and they're doing a sonar training on the latest sonic weapon.
Sonic?
Sonic?
I mean, it's a joke. What even is that sound? All right. Well, now I have to actually stop.
Wait, something happened to my headset. I don't know what happened. I
Oh.
like disconnected for 0.21 seconds. I'm gonna go back to Discord really quick. It doesn't seem like it's low battery. I don't understand. Anyways.
Yeah, alright, goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye!
Ow!
Working here is a
Oh
blessing.
yeah, we should
I'm
watch
all in.
the Sunlope saga.
How are you today, boss? Let's get
On it.
Where
Let's make
is
this place shine.
Reynolds? Okay, hold on. I think this is the
Hey
first
guys,
one.
so today I debuted Sunlow.
You posted that first on Twitter, I think. That's probably what happened.
A horizontal because I don't. Sunlow.
Sunlow.
Which I'm really excited
Sunlow.
about. You know, I had melon sun yesterday, sun melon, and it was fine. You know, I don't know. I mean, it was just one of those things where it was like I feel like maybe it's almost there, but something doesn't. It needs to be sort of rejiggered. And I talk about this all the time on my Patreon.
Oh. What happened? Hello? I can't hear you if you're talking or... Hi.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi. I don't know what
Hi.
happened. My headset went all weird again. But yeah. Share screen. And also my stream crashed. It was
Oh,
weird.
okay.
Just the time on my Patreon. But this is just the creative process, you know. Every day you have to, I liken it to photography. Photographers aren't necessarily any better at taking pictures than anybody else. They just take more pictures. So if you take 10,000 pictures, then yeah, 5 are going to be good probably, right? So that's the way that I look at my creative process. Just do it, 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 and then you'll get some hits. Right? So I'm hoping Sunloaf is going to be that for me. I wish you could see him right now. He's looking pretty zen right there. That's pretty good.
Sunloaf.
Sunloaf.
I mean, I am taking a video now, but I mean a short form video. That's good. That's good stuff. You're telling me that this, if Sunloaf doesn't blow up, I'm retiring and I'm doing something else.
Wait, did you hear that? Did you hear that? What?
Retiring?
He was gonna say, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm killing myself. The subtle jokes
This is great
are my
stuff.
favorite.
It's frustrating, because you put yourself out there every day, you humiliate yourself, and it just feels like you're butting your head against the wall over and over again. It's ridiculous. But anyway, the reason I wanted to make this video was because actually of something that happened to me while I was in production of Sunloaf, and I'm not really sure what to make of it, and I was hoping that you guys could help me out. It's sort of a moral dilemma, and it's not like my normal moral dilemmas, which are, oh, I killed this guy, or I killed the kid. Been there, done that, right? This is actually a real moral dilemma that is nuanced, and I need help because, honestly, I'm starting to feel like a bad person for what happened. So, I was at this, I don't want to move Sunloaf because that's a good position and I want to remember that. I was going to the store because, like I said, yesterday I did Melon Sun. And I had a couple of different options, right? So I ended up going with a honeydew, but, and I guess I can demonstrate for you right here. It's very wet or something. I hope it's not leaking all over my car seat. But anyway, I had Melon Sun yesterday. Which was funny because I ended up, at first I tried to super glue the head to the melon, and then I realized I could just stick a chopstick in there, put the head on top of the chopstick, there you go, Melon Sun. But it took a while to eventually land on the honeydew because I knew that I wanted a melon, but I tried, I thought watermelon, and but with this, that's pretty good actually. That's not bad. That could be something. Okay, put a pin in that. That would have to be watermelon sun. So yesterday I had melon sun melon, and today I was sort of like, well, now what? Let's keep yes-anding this idea. How does this evolve? Where's the next place that this can go? So I went to the store, and I was just I was thinking along the lines of, okay, what can we put a head on top of? Let's go get baby head that would be compelling, right? Or that would have some sort of kind of thematic significance. So I was sort of just browsing around. I started with produce, because fruits and vegetables typically are very funny. And at first I thought maybe cucumber sun,
Cucumber
sun. I was looking at a bunch of cucumbers and organic versus non-organic. Some of them have the curvature, so I thought that could be funny. Cucumber sun. And again, I still might do that. That's definitely put a pin in that one. Don't let anybody steal that.
Working here is a blessing.
But
I'm all in.
it just wasn't, I was just like, I don't know. I like the vertical. I like that it's a big vertical stick almost with that on top. Slow down. I'm gonna kill something. I like that it's the vertical with the head. What else is vertical? And I was just sort of looking around, and I looked at the bakery, and I saw they had baguettes there. So I said, okay, there we go. That's interesting. And they also have these nice baguettes that are sort of pointy, so it's the perfect, not to show you too much about how the sausage is made, but it just goes on there very easily like that. There you go. Sunloaf. So I got 2. I always like to have options, right? And you never know what could happen. I mean, one of them could snap in half, or I've learned that over the years, you know, of doing this. Doing this every single day for multiple years. I've learned sort of the tricks of the trade. So I did get 2 baguettes, and I had them in each hand like this. It felt very French. You know, I felt like a background character in Beauty and the Beast, right? Or one of those Disney films where they'll have a baguette. All I had was a baguette, 2 things, right? And so I walked up to the checkout, and this is sort of a smaller mom and pop grocery store, so they don't have self-checkouts. And as a matter of fact, a lot of places are starting to do away with the self-checkouts, I guess, because of people like me who shoplift all the time, right? Don't tell anybody I said that. But people like me who shoplift all the time, so they're starting to get rid of them even at Target and all these places, and I'm thinking, you're crazy, man. But they don't have any self-checkouts at this mom and pop grocery store. So a lot of times they only have one. Typically what it looks like happens is they'll have one person on the register. If the line backs up, then the guy who's in the back sucking his own dick will come out, you know, get off his phone and say, all right, I'll open a register and help out a couple people to relieve the main person. You know, so I was standing back in the back of the and I was getting pretty. When I am in a creative frenzy like that, when I have an idea and I know exactly what to do, it's just a matter of doing it. I am like a dog with a bone. I am like rah, 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 running as fast as I can.
Like you?
Nothing's gonna get
Yeah.
me.
Like
Raw,
me.
raw, raw.
Rah, rah, rah.
I sort of forget everything. Now I'm not saying that I was being selfish or that I forgot everybody around me, but I had tunnel vision because I know that this could be, I don't know how well it's going to pay off, but I think every idea could be a hawk to us. You know, I get to that place with every idea. I like to look at it and say, this could be the greatest social media post in the history of the world. And I genuinely believe that every single time. Now what the world chooses to do with it after I put it out there remains to be seen. And sometimes the world is wrong. I saw that with virtual sin forgiveness. You know, I put that out there. Nothing. And it got maybe 80 views on TikTok. And so I was like, all right, well, I get flopped, I guess. You know, on to the next thing. Forgot all about it. 6 months later, all of a sudden, everybody's got virtual sin forgiveness fever. Look at this funny priest who did this funny thing, right? 6 months later. So, I never know. Same thing with Cocky Want Boing Boing, right? I posted that one night, you know, just sort of completely as an afterthought. I thought this is just, I'm just, you know, just business as usual. Posted that. Nothing really. I mean, it did fine, but I thought, again, it was not out of the ordinary. Wasn't until later that night, all of a sudden it became the biggest sensation ever to hit Twitter, you know. So you never know. And that's why I try not to get too hung up on one thing, performance in particular. I just keep chugging away. And eventually it will happen. That's always the advice that I give to people who are trying to make it on social media, and I really shouldn't be saying this for free, but the best advice I can give you is just do it, and just keep doing it over and over and over again. Eventually something's going to work. That's just probability. Those are just the odds of probability. So anyway, I had my 2 baguettes, and I was in creative mode. And there were
like
a lot
Minecraft?
of people in front of me who
Minecraft.
had full carts of groceries. You know, they were doing their grocery shopping for the whole week, or a whole month. And one of the people was an old lady. And I did not notice that yet.
I'm
That is
out.
going to be important at the end of the story.
What?
I would say that I would
Sorry,
maybe. There were quite a few people ahead of me in line. I mean,
Wait, what?
I'm playing Grocery Store Simulator, so I started
Oh yeah. What's your synergy?
this, and I'm out.
They was up
Yeah, base, and I'm out.
3 or 4
This is
people.
on my list.
Most of them, if not all of them, had either full carts of groceries or full baskets of groceries. So I was like, well, hopefully they need to get somebody else here. That's the reason why they have the express checkout and the regular checkout, right? Grocery stores have thought of this. I only have 2 things. It makes absolutely no sense that I should have to wait 30 minutes behind people who have 20,000 things, literally. It makes no sense that I should have to waste my whole afternoon waiting behind those people. I am totally serious. I believe that grocery stores should, and the reason, I believe that grocery stores should prioritize the line on how long it is going to take you to move through it. And they agree with me. That's why they have the express checkout. 15 items or less, or 10 items or less. That's why they have that. And they don't have that, anything like that at this grocery store in particular, because it's a mom and pop grocery store. So, again, a lot of times what'll happen, typically I'm sort of a forager, I guess. I'm a sporadic shopper. So when I go grocery shopping, I maybe only get 2 or 3 things at a time. The way that my brain works, because the grocery store right down the street from my house. So I don't have foresight at all with anything in my life, let alone groceries. So when I think of something I need, I just go to the store and get the one thing that I need. So very, very often, almost every single time that I'm at the grocery store, I only have 1 or 2 things. And most people will very kindly, most people who have a full cart of groceries and who are in front of me will let me go in front of them. And which is the right thing to do. And I would do that if I had a full cart of groceries, but I don't. I'm getting mad thinking about it.
exactly what they
So, I'm waiting behind these people, and then the guy who's in the back stuck in his own deck comes out, and he's like, oh my god, sorry. I guess I gotta get up off my ass and actually work. So he goes up to I'm sorry, I'm really trying. I was watching a lot of my old videos yesterday, and I have to say, I was not a very sympathetic character in most of them. And I think that was just because, I don't know, I with that kind of stuff, that's part of the reason why I want to ask about this. Because I am starting to genuinely worry that I'm becoming a selfish person. All of these things keep happening to me. I don't know if maybe it's because I'm famous, or I live in LA, I'm in a bubble, but I feel like it's affecting my behavior. I always look at these entitled jackasses who are rich, and I'm not rich, but maybe one day, right? I mean, at this rate, if Fred's son, Loaf's son, at the rate I'm cranking this stuff out, it is going to be Dan Henschel fever sweeping the nation by the end of this year, let alone the end of the decade, right? Who knows where I could be? I am
4 months ago.
I am going to do things no one has ever done before. Case in point, son Loaf's son, right? Melton's son. This is groundbreaking stuff here. So, but at the same time, I always look at people who had sort of success in Hollywood or wherever, who end up being very entitled, and you think, how does somebody get to a point where they behave like this? How does somebody allow themselves to have their personality go that unchecked, that they become a raging maniac monster like that? And things have started to happen to me recently. I was I told you in a past video about the situation with the guy who called me the F slur, and I am sorry to anybody who was offended that I said that actual word. The reason why I think that I'm allowed to say it is because someone called me it. I think if somebody shouts that word at you in public, you are allowed to say it. That's the way I look at it. but I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me, right? If you are called a slur, well, there's some exceptions to that, but with that one in particular, I do think that's a good barometer. But with that thing, I will admit, part of me was like, well, was that guy right? I mean, I was driving fast, I was riding his ass. I mean, I don't think he was right to call me a slur, but you know, it's just these things are starting to happen that are sort of like canaries in the coal mine for me, and I'm concerned I don't want to end up a jerk. You know, I mean, yeah, sure, you can be funny, you can be famous, you can be all these things, but I want to be one of those guys who, you know, when they ask the question, who's the nicest celebrity, I fantasize about the top answer being, oh my gosh, I met Dan Henschel at the airport, he was the sweetest guy. Everybody who's ever worked with Dan Henschel says that he's the nicest guy in the whole world. That's what I want! And I always thought that I was a nice person, and I think that I am, but there are also, I think that there are a lot of times where I am unjustly not considered that. And that's why I'm grateful that I have, kind of hot in here. That's why I'm grateful that I have an audience of people that I can sort of present these situations to. Because gaslighting, I spent the whole first couple years of my career delving into gaslighting, right? Exploring it as a concept. And gaslighting relies on someone else creating your worldview so that you believe that they are right. The thing that gaslighting's worst enemy is other people who are not involved. Gaslighting's worst enemy is a third party, unless they also are gaslighting.
Exactly what I need.
Then it becomes gaslighting with more people. But that's why. So if I am wrong, tell me, and we will see. I wish that there was a way that we could do a vote or something. Maybe somebody could comment. You know, one of these people who always comment without even watching the video. Maybe if you could actually do something for once instead of saying, Dan, will you first? You know, I'm first. Somebody comment, Dan is right, and somebody comment, Dan is wrong.
Let's make it a great day.
It can be the same person if you want. But please, if you are watching this and you scroll down and there's already somebody who said it, don't mix it up, because then we're going to lose track of the talent. Try to keep one designated comment. I'm asking you all, please, behave yourselves. Try to designate one comment that says Dan is right. Another, Dan is wrong. And depending on which one you agree with, give it a like. And then we'll see. We'll get a tally, you know. And you don't have to be yes men or women or thems. You can just be honest. I want to know. I want you to be honest. So anyway, I had my 2 loaves. Guy comes out of the back, you know, and he opens another register and he says, "I can help
you didn't include the loaves in chat. He said yes men, women, and thems, but not the loaves, like Sunloaf in his car seat, his passenger. His own son is a loaf."
So I took my 2 loaves and I went over and I sat my 2 loaves on the thing. I didn't make eye contact with anybody because I do believe that it was fair. It's fair that I should be the one, because I had the least amount of things.
Exactly what I need.
I go over there and I'm feeling that there's some sort of social commotion behind me. You know, I'm not really looking, but I'm very good at taking the temperature of the room, so I can feel that there's sort of something going on.
I'm an empath.
Check out my 2 fucking loaves, and then I'll just keep going. You know, and then the usual proceedings. You know, if you want a bag, you want a receipt. It's going very, very fast. I was done by the time anybody even realized that I was even there. There's another guy behind me who also has maybe a can of sardines or something. He came up, you know, behind me, and then there was another guy who was his friend or something. I don't know. He makes a big point. Now there's a fucking guy with his weed whacker. Wow. I bet y'all missed this, right? Dan's explosions of anger at the passerby, right? Dan tropes. Where's it coming from? Lawn maintenance. You know how I feel about lawns in Southern California. They're archaic. They need to be done away with. I think I'm going to become a lawn terrorist, and I'm going to start pouring bleach on people's lawns. And then,
Honestly,
you know, so that they'll replant natives. Of course, they won't actually do that. Anyway, there was a commotion going on behind me, and the guy who was a big muscular, you know, he's one of those guys who I think wants to seem like a good person, right? Even if it extends past rationality. And I was thinking also maybe I should make this an Am I the Asshole post on Reddit, because I think this is a good dilemma. I think people would really eat it up over there. Said to the old lady in front of him, the old lady who had a entire cart full of things, and 2 weeks worth of food, 2 months worth of food. He said, you know, he didn't say it outright, but I could tell that the way that he was saying it was, I'm not going to be like this selfish bread guy who went ahead of you with his 2 loaves, even though you were chronologically here first. I'm not going to be like him. And he said, go right ahead. Please go. You know, because people were deciding which line to go in. So he was like, oh, you know, please, like he was Prince Charming. And he said, oh, please go, you know, go ahead. I'll actually wait. You know, I'll actually wait for you. And she was like, oh, are you sure? You know, and there was the back and forth like, yes, of course, please. What I don't understand is, and then he looked at me, because he only had a couple of things too. But now here's the thing. I am not somebody who's going to make a public...
Nice.
I didn't want to even respond because I wanted to prove that by the time I was going to be like a hummingbird, or you know, by the time anybody even registered I was there, I'd be gone. So I just was like checking out, and I was not paying attention to those people, and the lady was like, "Do you want a bag? Do you want a receipt?" No bag, no receipt. Just let me get the fuck out of here. The old lady starts, you know, like coming over with her cart of 20 million things, and gets behind me in the line. And then then everybody, the guy's back there, and he's like, you know, man, he must really be in a hurry. Talking about me, you know, and he said, oh man, he must really be in a hurry. You know, you know, I don't want to, don't let me get in the way of the, you know, of whatever, which I think is unfair. So that's why I want you all to tell me. Look, I mean, I only had 2 things, 2 very cheap things, in and out. In and out! Just because I'm guessing that guy's chivalrous implication was that I should have let the old lady go in front of me by virtue of her being old and being there first. But it doesn't okay, so it doesn't matter. There is something called the butterfly effect, which is a scientific principle that states, you know, in theory, if a butterfly flaps its wings, can that cause a chain reaction that leads to a hurricane, you know, Hurricane Katrina forming in the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, right? Not to get too tropical. That orange man's a little kind of crazy. I'm sure he's harmless, though. I'm sure nothing's actually gonna happen. Cheeto and cheat.
What is he talking about?
Maybe Cheetos. I could put a Cheeto under the head. Paint
Cheeto.
it orange. Be like, yes, Mr. President. That's pretty fucking good. I bet Randy Rainbow is awesome. Oh yeah, I'm going on Oprah with that one. That's a good one. Nobody steal that. Sophie's still around. She'll still do this. Oh, for sure.
This should do.
I never thought I'd be one of those old people who's like, you know, I made a reference to Ellen the other day, and this kid was like, huh? You know, and I was like, Ellen was a talk show host, and then all of a sudden I realized I always hated it when old people would say like, oh, you know, it's like the Dick Clark show or whatever, some random name of some old guy, or Johnny Carson, you know, it's like he's on Johnny Carson, and I'd be like, shut up. Who the fuck is Johnny Carson? I know Johnny Carson because I'm a Canadian, but who the fuck is this random person nobody gives a shit about that's irrelevant? I'm realizing I'm becoming that, you know, because all of a sudden these things, you know, Ellen's not around.
Just what I need.
Jay Leno, David Letterman. These guys all used to be topical. Now they're not. It's funny how time works. But anyway, the butterfly effect. You know, if a butterfly flaps its wings, can it cause a Hurricane Katrina? You know, in the Gulf of America. Similarly, you know, if you were to go back in time travel to the age of the dinosaurs, if you stepped on a butterfly while you were traveled back in time, you stepped on a butterfly. Wait a minute, this is a short story. Now I'm remembering. Okay, I think the short story might even be called The Butterfly Effect. In the short story, the guy traveled back in time to the age of the dinosaurs. He's walking along and he steps on a butterfly, just a little tiny butterfly, with his foot. The rest of they do whatever. He goes back to the future, his time, and when he gets there, all of a sudden everybody in America speaks Chinese or something. English is different. You know, English is like Celtic, old Celtic or something. And the implication is that, you know, that minuscule change, him killing that one butterfly, had all these unintended consequences. That's pretty good. It's pretty good short story. Good concept. But that's why I really don't think that it matters that the old lady was first chronologically, because what time we both got to the store had so many other influences that I don't understand why people act like, well, because I was here first, I should be able to go before you, you know, because it had that has time. We don't even know that time is real. Time, there are a lot of, you know, on Jupiter, a day is only 20 years or something of that nature, right? But my point being is, I don't think that time is a virtuous thing. Right? That's pretty philosophical. Time does not equal virtue. So me getting there after you and you getting there first has no bearing on how much you deserve to go through the line. Because it's not like because you're a great person you got to the store 10 minutes before me, you know. So that's why I think that there should at least be some consideration into how quickly, you know, how many things the person has, right? And normally there is. Like I said, they have the express checkout, but they don't have it at the store. So I was going by the rules that are established by stores everywhere.
Exactly what I need.
And so the time, I don't think it makes a big difference. Number two, I am sorry. I really don't, you know, if I was on the subway or I was, you know, we don't have very good public transportation here in Los Angeles, but if we did and I was on it, and I was sitting in a seat and an old lady came in and there were no other seats, of course I would get up and say, please sit in my seat, because that makes sense. She's weak and she's frail and she's on the, that could have a direct influence in how long she lives. If she has to strain herself anymore by not sitting, that could effectively kill her, or at the very least, butterfly effect, right, cause her to die earlier than she otherwise would have, because of my inaction. So that to me is a moral act. I don't have to do it, right? But that would be the nice thing to do. Conversely, letting the old lady go before me at the store, even though I was had the least amount of things, you know, she was there first, but I had less things. I don't think that would have been moral, like Mr. Chivalry implied, you know. And I don't even he only had 2 things too. But because it is more, because it, you know, he wants to be like a great person. He was fine cucking himself into line and saying, "I'll just wait a half hour." Everybody, no, you go ahead, everybody go ahead of me. There's nothing that I hate more than people who just
what I was after.
let things happen to them.
Yeah.
Just what I was after.
I took initiative. That's why I have almost 300,000 YouTube followers. That's why I have almost 400,000 Twitter followers. That's why I have almost 500,000 Instagram followers. And that's why I had 2 million TikTok followers back in the day. Most people don't even remember that. When I got banned on TikTok 2 years ago, last year, 1 year ago, everybody said, this guy's done. They counted me out. And then I came back. And now most people don't even remember that I had a TikTok. Now most people don't even know. So anyway.
Exactly what I need.
Bread loaf. Bread son. Loaf son. I'm excited to check the numbers after this video. I've been filming for a long time. I'm excited to check the returns on that one. Yeah, so I would just, anyway, that's sort of just really all that happened. I left with the bread, and then I mean, the rest is history. But really, I'm just wondering what you all make of that moral query. And I've made my case. If there's anything that I remember, I think that I've said everything that's going to help you make your decision. But you're the jury, right? So I trust. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't really trust you all.
Just exactly what I need.
But I will be. Let me put it this way. I'll be interested to hear what you have to say. All right. Have a great day.
Sermon from Father Joker.
Exactly.
No, I don't know. Ow!
Hey everybody. So this
I
past
dropped my
Sunday,
phone.
I did.
Ow.
This is perfect.
You okay?
It's okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm red.
Exactly what
Okay, hold on. You keep going on with the Sunloaf saga.
He's red for an amazing
I think I
reason.
figured it out. I've had a lot of
He
time to figure it out.
is. He is.
Sunloaf. Why is Sunloaf not working? Because I know this is good. I know this is good.
Nice.
But there is something in the transmission of Sunloaf to audience that is getting interrupted. Something is not coming across. And the problem is not conceptual. The problem is in transmission. So I need to figure out what about Sunloaf is not coming across the way that I see it, right? And I think I figured it out. Sun radish. Sun radish. This is it. This is the solution to my problem. Because Sunloaf, I think, you know, Melon Sun, we started off with Melon Sun. It was okay. Melon Sun has kind of a cult following, which is great. Love you guys. But with a general audience, it wasn't working. Sunloaf told me, now if I had stopped at Melon Sun, I might have said, well, okay, maybe this is nothing. But I got enough of an inkling to embolden me to move on to the next iteration, which was Sunloaf. Sunloaf has a cylindrical, because Melon Sun is too uncanny. There's something called the uncanny valley, which is where something is not quite human enough to be relatable. No, it's where something is human enough to be relatable, but alien enough to be scary, right? Look it up if you don't understand the way that I explain it, because I don't have time to talk about the uncanny valley in this video. So Melon Sun was too far into alien territory. He doesn't have a recognizable form, right?
This should do.
Human bodies are cylindrical. They're long. They are, a loaf of bread, and somebody did point out very intelligently on Twitter that this is not a loaf.
Exactly.
I
what
don't
need.
care. This isn't a
Exactly what
baking
I need.
YouTube. This is a comedy, surrealist humor
I'm
YouTube. Right? Satire. The reason why I went with the bread was because it resembles the human form closer than the melon. Closer than the honeydew, closer than the watermelon. And I don't have those, I threw them out because they were starting to leak. But when I look at Sunloaf, I see someone benevolent. I see sort of, I don't know exactly what I see. I see a certain ennui about him. But I think the issue is, some people can see that vision too. My vision of Sunloaf is what I have to do is I have to figure out how to get my vision of Sunloaf to be transmitted to the audience, so that the audience sees my vision of Sunloaf. You cannot lead the audience so astray that they see Sunloaf floating in the ether and they don't know how they are supposed to receive it. That is the problem with entertainment. That is what you need to figure out in order to entertain an audience. You need to figure out how to take your ideas and make them, lube them up in such a way that they go right in. I apologize for the crass metaphor, but it is kind of the problems that Sun Radish solved is that I think that Sunloaf was too uncanny valley. Sun Radish has this wispy tail like this. I think that is the key. That is what is going to make Sun Radish my Hawktua. Because this wispy tail and this sort of spinal column body is now closer to alien than human.
Nice.
Loaf Sun is too human, not enough alien. Sun Radish,
They don't have
alien. Because he resembles forms that we have seen in culture before. We understand that this is a scary alien life form, or a genie, or we've seen this type of stuff enough times. A sperm, he looks like a sperm. I posted Sun Radish this morning, and I was scrolling through, and I said, yes, I have cracked the issue. The issue was not a conceptual issue. The issue was a tonal issue. The issue is that now Sun Radish can be scary. Can be not scary, but like I said, he is a creature. Half human, half radish. It's very, very simple to understand, which is why it was so frustrating to me. Why I just couldn't, and people were texting me. I genuinely took Sunloaf out yesterday. I literally took Sunloaf out because I was going to do a photo shoot. I went downtown Highland Park. I went to the playground at Yosemite Rec Center, and what I was doing was I was just carrying Sunloaf around to people in public so that I could get I would see their unfiltered opinion. What does Sunloaf look like when he's out in the world? How does the average person respond to Sunloaf? What reactions do they give me? Again, thinking about the transmission. That is going to be the key to making Sunloaf the next Hawktua, or Sun Radish, excuse me. Because Hawktua, here's what happened with Hawktua. Everybody understands it. I had a similar thing with Cocky One. Boing boing. It was a similar sexual onomatopoeia, right? Everybody loves sex. Everybody understands sex. It is deeply ingrained in us as human beings. So sexual memes are always going to go farther than regular memes. Because Everybody on Earth can relate to sex. Everybody, except some of you. But that is the key. It has to. They have to have a reference, a frame of reference from their own lives, from their own experiences, right? That does not exist for this. Doesn't exist. So we have to give that to them. We have to supply them with that reference point so that they can understand it. And this is something that I've learned a lot with a lot of my content, because a lot of times what happens with my content is I will post it, and then somebody will quote tweet it or comment with a comment that I think is dumb. A comment that sort of summarizes how a normal person would react. So usually it's, this guy's crazy, this is weird, you know, this guy is gonna pop a blood vessel, you know, something of that nature. That couldn't happen for Sunlow. When people see that, all of a sudden then they understand, oh, I now know what this is. So for the longest time, people were like, what is Dan Henschel's deal? I don't understand. And then somebody quote tweeted me and said, Dan Henschel, what he does is he pretends to be a bad person. I guess that was it. And then I scrolled through it and I saw everybody go, oh, I get it. And then because now they have a frame of reference. They understand how to categorize me within the world that they live. That's not possible with Sunlow. Because he's unlike anything anyone has ever seen before. We don't know how a loaf of bread with a head on it moves in the world. We don't know how it walks down the street. We don't know what the gravity is supposed to be. We don't know what it sounds like when you hit it against your hand. So that's why.
And we don't,
This,
of course, know what it sounds like when it hits the pavement.
I know there is. I have a feeling with Melon Sun, with Sunlow, with all of these guys, that there is something here. Probably the same thing that Steven Hillenburg. Do you think when Steven Hillenburg first drew SpongeBob SquarePants, a character that everybody on Earth recognizes and is beloved, you should look up the first drafts of Steven Hillenburg drawing SpongeBob. He looked like a weird freak, an amorphous blob creature. That is how I feel with this. I feel like I am so close. I'm so close to getting SpongeBob. I just need to figure out how to fine-tune it so that it unlocks what it needs to be. It's the key that unlocks what it has to be for the audience to understand what it is, and for it to come across, and for this to be my Hawk Tua, for this to be my SpongeBob, for this to be my Citizen Kane. This is it! I'm so close! I'm so close! I can taste it! I know it! And the polarizing opinions only prove that to me even further. The polarizing opinions show me this is poking at something that is deep in the zeitgeist. This is getting people talking. This is provocative. This is new. This is different. And with a few tweaks, bam, it's going to go platinum. It is going to go to the stratosphere. I know. I have had that happen with ideas before. They were, they didn't work. Tweak in the laboratory. All of a sudden, the right drop in the right test tube, bam! The whole science lab blew up. That is the process. And that is what I'm going to do. So if you don't, I'm sorry, I'm not going to get upset again because I already did that yesterday. But
I forgot to check what people decided about the moral
all
dilemma
you
from the last video.
You will not regret it.
We'll check it in a second.
To say, I saw SpongeBob SquarePants when he was the first draft. I saw Hawk Tua. Well, I don't know what Hawk Tua was. I was on the street when Hawk Tua was recorded. And I knew that there was something there.
I was there.
Okay, I'm excited. This is going to be a big day. It's going to be a big week. It's gonna be a big month. Here we go.
My nephew lived. Okay. Okay, let's
Hey,
check
Dot.
the comments though. Top comment, Dan is right. You know, that's right. I know that's right. Yeah. Sun Cumber. Cumber Sun. He's so red.
Uncomber.
Are you there, Yoki?
I see it. Yeah.
Sun Cumber.
Sun Cumber.
Uncomber.
He has such a winning smile, don't
What's
you
that,
think?
Uncomber?
Oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi, oi.
Cash register duty? No problem.
Okay. This is your hawk to
Hey everybody, my name's Sunlow, and I won't answer Dan because I'm a big shark! Isn't that right, Sunlow? Hi, I'm Sunlow. I wanted to be in charge so badly, and then the second Dan gave me any power, I didn't know what to do with it! I'm an ungrateful little shit! Who doesn't appreciate what a good life Dan has given me, and doesn't like me anymore for some reason that I won't even tell Dan. Why do you hate me? Why don't you like me anymore? What did I do? What did I do?
Yes.
Now, if you're gonna tell me, I'll give you all the privacy in the world with your precious audience, and maybe you'll tell them. Maybe you'll tell them everything that you don't want to tell me because you're too much of a jerk! People are starting to look at us and they're going to call the police. And it's going to start raining again. So we have to go. So that means you have to tell me the answer to my question that I asked you that then all of a sudden you didn't want to answer. Even though you were perfectly fine talking about it 5 minutes ago. What did he tell you when I was going? Tell me in the comments what he told you. Because he's not going to tell me. Because he likes you better.
This is Dora.
Him everything that he has.
Right?
I'm the one who gave him everything that he has.
This is what?
I said this is Dora, but for adults.
He thinks that I'm the one who messed everything up. Don't you? Yes, yes. Yes, I do. Well, I know! I know it was my fault. So you don't have to tell me. There, I admitted it. I admitted it! So now you can talk to me again, right? I admit that I ruined everything. I admit that it's my fault. And guess what? I'll admit invite you to the next wedding. Yeah, when I fix it. When I fix it.